Imagine for a moment that everything you think about reality is just a tiny fraction of what's possible. What if the way you perceive the world is like watching life through a keyhole, when an entire panoramic view is waiting just beyond the door? Today, we're diving deep into a radical idea that perception isn't a fixed camera capturing reality, but more like a dynamic, ever-shifting lens that we can actually learn to adjust. Our journey starts with Aldous Huxley and his groundbreaking work, The Doors of Perception. Huxley was a brilliant, albeit slightly eccentric writer, experimenting with mescaline in a time where psychedelic drugs had yet to be named or categorized as such. However, Huxley was not experimenting with these substances as a recreational thrill seeker, but as a serious explorer of consciousness. Huxley proposed something revolutionary. Our brain acts like a reducing valve. Think of it like an incredibly sophisticated spam filter for reality. Most of what's actually happening gets filtered out, leaving us with just enough information to survive and function. But what if we could expand that filter? What would happen, and what would our lives as humans look like going forward? Enter Ram Dass, who takes this exploration of consciousness from chemical exploration to spiritual practice. In Be Here Now, he suggests we don't need substances to expand our perception. Meditation, mindfulness, being truly present, these are doorways to seeing differently as well. Natalie Goldberg enters our story with a twist. In writing down The Bones, she argues that creativity itself is a form of perception expansion. Writing isn't just about putting words on paper. It's about learning to see more clearly, to be radically present, as Ram Dass says. For Natalie Goldberg, meditation and writings go hand in hand, helping expand one's awareness of reality while still being able to comfortably understand it. For her, writing is not only about sharing your perceptions of reality with other people, but also as a way of better understanding it yourself. Natalie Goldberg challenges us to imagine writing not as a skill, but as a meditative practice in itself. Every word becomes a way of seeing the world anew. John Hall's exploration of St. Francis adds a historical dimension. Here's a person who didn't just see the world differently, he fundamentally reimagined spiritual experience. Mystical states aren't just weird phenomena, they're potential portals to understanding reality. By living in the sadhana of poverty, or the life of poverty, as Francis puts it, one can become closer to God. And it's important to note that for St. Francis, God isn't a white-bearded man sitting in the sky above us, judging us all the time, but instead the entirety of the universe's energy and being. Jeffrey Kripal brings an academic perspective to this conversation. In The Flip, he challenges our entire materialist worldview. Those experiences we've dismissed as paranormal, or weird, or simply impossible, they might actually be critical windows into understanding consciousness. Kripal lists a variety of examples, ranging from pop writers like Mark Twain to contemporary scientists, all of them sharing the same fundamentally impossible experience from a scientific perspective that nonetheless was more than real in their everyday lives. Here's the radical proposition. Perception is not something that happens to us. It's something we can actively shape, explore, and transform. In a world of increasing division and rigid thinking, expanding our perception isn't just an intellectual game. It's an ethical imperative. Each moment offers a chance to see differently, to understand more deeply. To end, a quote from Aldous Huxley. There are things known and things unknown, and in between those are the doors of perception. What doorways of perception will you explore? Comment below, hit subscribe, and let's keep expanding our understanding together.